We found our future selves going at it passionately in bed. The bed frame was practically breaking. I froze on the spot. So, did my sworn enemy. Until the two in bed finally noticed us. The me from 10 years later casually waved. Come join us. Who would believe that? Just moments ago, Liu Ruyan and I were fighting over who got to keep the stray cat we had just found. She still had 3 bloody scratches on her face. Then, in the blink of an eye, we traveled through time. 10 years later, Liu Ruyan was pinned beneath 10 years later me. Future me had her trembling all over. Her eyes burned with fire, as if she wanted to tear me apart. From the outside, it looked like I was forcing myself on her. And the scrawny little orange cat we had just rescued had grown into a muscular tomcat. He sat at the foot of the bed, watching the 2 figures on it with keen interest, his tail lazily swishing back and forth. For a moment, I did not know whose eyes to cover first. Liu Ruyan on the bed suddenly spasmed and cried out. The future me gently kissed the corner of her lips, as if soothing her. I slapped the person beside me across the face. The tips of my ears were burning red. Can you stop moaning so lewdly? She glared at me like I had lost my mind. Her face was so red it looked ready to steam. What does that have to do with me? You were no better. It is obvious you forced her. Look what you have practically done to me. I gritted my teeth. I forced you? Then why were you moving your hips so eagerly? You looked like you enjoyed it even more than I did. Just as we were about to fight again, the absorbed couple in bed finally noticed us. He looked exactly like me, only more mature and handsome. And he raised an eyebrow. The woman beneath him let out a satisfied sigh. She turned onto her side, propping her chin on one hand as she looked at us. A hint of surprise showed in her eyes. The blanket only partly covered her. Everything that should have been covered was exposed. Time had not made her less beautiful. It had made her even more radiant and striking. I did not dare look any lower. Her voice was still husky from what they had just done. Honey, am I hallucinating? She looked us over from head to toe. A smile curled at her lips. Still, you were pretty innocent 10 years ago. Not like now, when you are like a ravenous beast. I finally get a day off, and you still pin me to the bed. Liu Ruyan was embarrassed and furious. She blurted out, the future me has terrible taste, other than being a little handsome, a little smart, and somewhat different from everyone else. What is so great about Qiang? How could you even go after the girl next door? What kind of person are you? The future Liu Ruyan gave her an incredulous glance. If you had not gone after him first, would he be mine now? The future me gave a soft snort, then casually pulled on some sleepwear. He walked toward us, my whole body locked up. Liu Ruyan looked even stiffer than I was. His long, strong fingers lightly brushed Liu Ruyan's cheek. Her face instantly turned red again. A faint fragrance from his fingertips drifted past her nose. She actually leaned closer and sniffed them without realizing it. Seeing her so utterly pathetic, I wanted to kick her. I ground out, Liu Ruyan, look carefully at who is standing in front of you. He is your sworn. I forced the final word back down, because she was crimson from head to toe. The man gave a mocking laugh. You were no better 10 years ago. One touch, and you get like this. Have you had a crush on me all along? The woman in bed yawned. She said carelessly, you guessed right. My first erotic dream was about you. Liu Ruyan instantly snapped awake. She lunged forward and covered the woman's mouth. Her cheeks were still flushed. Her voice trembled, but she tried to sound fierce. Shut up. I would never like Qiang, even if I died. The woman clicked her tongue. She let out a long sigh. See, you are getting worked up again. She raised her voice. Honey, let me tell you, this girl is far more perverted than that. Back in high school, she would deliberately wake up half an hour early, then run to your house to wake you, just so she could secretly kiss you while you slept. I clenched my back teeth. Liu Ruyan, I knew it. You came to wake me before dawn every day. I thought you were just finding new ways to torment me. My mom kept praising you for being hardworking and studious. Whenever she made pigeon soup, she made me give you half the pigeon. Guilt flashed through her eyes. Flustered, she could only whine at her future self. Shut up, or I'll stab myself to death right now. Then you will die too. The woman was not intimidated. She took the future's hand and kissed it, as if trying to kiss away every trace of Liu Ruyan's scent from it. And every time, she claimed your backpack zipper was open, but she only wanted to get close enough to smell you, to find the detergent you used. She even bought every brand in the supermarket, but none of them smelled right to her. She thought you were deliberately tormenting her, that you had put some kind of curse on her. Liu Ruyan was completely speechless. She did not even dare look at me. Her face was completely red. Seeing her so defeated gave me immense satisfaction. I could not help feeling smug about getting the upper hand. Well, Liu Ruyan, you always said I had no appeal whatsoever. You said you would never like me. So this is what you were doing behind my back. She wanted to glare at me, but lacked the nerve and lowered her head. The future me folded his arms, scratching the woman's chin beside him as though teasing a puppy. She laughed when she heard that. Turning toward me, she said, you were no better. Most of Liu Ruyan's admirers growing up were chased away by you. Whenever someone had a crush on her, you would sneak into her house at night and draw a turtle on her face. She would walk into class with that turtle on her face, and the next day, that person would find someone else to like. Whenever someone slipped her a love letter, you would secretly go tell her mother. That got her a beating from both parents, to keep fewer boys around her. You even made her wear your red cord. You told her it was a temple charm for protection. Shock flashed in Liu Ruyan's eyes. Qiang, you evil bastard. That explains why, in high school, I would go home and get beaten for no reason. Now I was the guilty one. Dating too young is bad for your health. Liu Ruyan raised the red cord around her wrist. She deliberately waved it in front of me, as if she had caught me in some huge lie. She was practically strutting. She could not have looked more pleased with herself. Is that so? Then what does this mean? You always made me wear it and never take it off. You even got mad whenever I did. Embarrassed and furious, I snapped. I wanted to leap at her and fight again. You two are just the pot calling the kettle black. For once, we spoke in perfect unison. Shut up. The future Liu Ruyan quickly mimed, zipping her lips. Even backed into a corner. Liu Ruyan still refused to admit it. You had better not believe her. That was just a teenage crush. It would have been the same with anyone else. I would never like you. My temper flared. Do not flatter yourself. I just did not want you finding someone before me and one-upping me. I would date a dog before I gave you a second look. Good. That is for the best. Just as we were about to have another huge fight, the future me suddenly steadied the woman beside him. His handsome face was full of concern. Are you okay? Future Liu Ruyan suddenly began breathing rapidly. Tears streamed down her face uncontrollably. She leaned into the man's arms. His hands shook so badly he could barely hold her waist, as if afraid he would worry. She forced a faint smile. Honey, did you wear me out so badly I am about to die? It was only from that angle that I noticed her left wrist was covered in countless scars, as well as a shocking long scar down her back from her shoulder, all the way to her waist. The future me seemed long used to it. He gently massaged the back of her neck as she sobbed, comforting her softly. It is okay. It is okay. You are all right now. I am here. He cradled the woman's tear-streaked face and kissed her again and again. Do not be afraid. Your husband is right here. Crying, her voice trembling, she called my name over and over. The future me showed no impatience at all, answering her every time. The sight left me stunned to speak. I even forgot every angry word that had been on the tip of my tongue. After who knew how long, the woman finally calmed down. She lay motionless in the future's arms. After hesitating for a long time, I finally asked her, why is she like this? And how did she get that wound on her back? But there was one question I did not dare ask. Those scars on her wrist. Did Liu Ruyan cut those scars herself? The future's expression became much more somber. He was no longer teasing us so affectionately. He stared at me for a long time, absently rubbing the burn scar on his elbow. In the same spot, I have an identical scar. It has something to do with you. Those words froze me where I stood. My mind went completely blank. Future Liu Ruyan raised her head from his arms. She forced a smile and rubbed his ear. What nonsense are you talking about? She smiled at me. It has nothing to do with you. I was just careless. I was not used to this Liu Ruyan, who was not being snarky at all, and was even a little gentle. I felt awkward and guilty. Have I been not very nice to you? Someone nearby, who had long been unable to hold back, jumped in. Not very nice? You were absolutely awful to me, okay? Annoyed, I shoved her. Drop dead. The moment I said it, I regretted it. Just as I was about to apologize, Liu Ruyan suddenly gave me a light tap. We're in trouble. Qiang. Fakai traveled through time with us, but Fakai is gone now. What if it ran off while we were fighting at the door? I panicked too and rushed downstairs. The instant we burst through the front door, everything returned to normal. Only the frail little creature at our feet, Fakai, was meowing. It was as though everything before had been an illusion. Still unwilling to accept it, I pushed open the door, but the room had completely changed back to the apartment Liu Ruyan had just rented. There was no exquisite, beautiful villa from 10 years later, and no future versions of us. I looked at Liu Ruyan. She looked equally confused. I hesitantly began. Just now, Liu Ruyan came to her senses. Her eyes darted away, and her ears reddened again. She immediately cut me off, leaning close to my ear as if sharing a secret. It had to be fake. Maybe we're trapped in some ghostly loop, and they wanted us as replacements. We cannot believe a single word they said. Feeling guilty too, I nodded vaguely. Right. That is what I think too. Then I suddenly remembered something. Uneasily, I took her left wrist and examined it. It was smooth and unmarked, with no signs of self-harm. Secretly, I breathed a sigh of relief. Liu Ruyan awkwardly pulled her hand away. I told you it was fake. I have a happy family, and my life has been smooth sailing. Why would I hurt myself? That was what she said, but her guilty gaze shifted away from me. What about your back? She flicked my forehead. We grew up together. What part of me have you not seen? Can you stop expecting the worst from me? At last, I felt somewhat relieved. I just never expected to be proven wrong so quickly. From that day on, we were both hiding something of our own, and neither of us dared meet the other's eyes. But Liu Ruyan was clearly more troubled. She began avoiding me, keeping away from me. To avoid me, she even stopped fighting for custody of Fakai. She suggested we take turns keeping it for 2 months each. Every weekend before, we would compete at the library. Whoever left first lost. Now, to keep her out of sight and out of mind, I simply accepted an invitation from an upperclassman. The moment I got into the car, a message from Liu Ruyan came through. Why did you not come to the library? It is not like I really want to see you either. But if you really want to come, fine. I thought she had lost her mind. I sent a terse reply. On a date, she did not reply again. On the way to the restaurant, I could not shake a feeling of unease. At the restaurant, chills ran down my back. My heart was racing far too fast. I did not think much of it and continued eating with the upperclassmen. Want to see a movie after dinner? Sure. A table in the corner behind us suddenly shook hard. It made me jump. I turned and saw someone ordering with an upside-down menu. The menu hid her completely. All I could see were her slender, pale hands. They looked strangely familiar. The upperclassman's question interrupted my thoughts. There are only 3 seats left. Let us get the 2 on the left. I turned back. Okay. The instant I agreed, the middle seat was immediately taken. Another strange noise came from the table behind us. I quickly shifted my chair farther away. On impulse, I took out my phone and messaged Liu Ruyan. She replied instantly. Where else would I be? At the library. Obviously. Do not tell me you think I am following you. Heh. Several smug surprised face emojis followed. The upperclassman rubbed her nose. Then let us go somewhere else. Forget it. Let us stay here. At the theater, a third of the way through the movie, the middle seat was still empty. We both thought she was not coming. The upperclassman was about to move closer when someone bundled up from head to toe appeared out of nowhere and quickly squeezed in between us. She snorted coldly under her breath. You cannot date a woman with no manners. Throughout the movie, whether the upperclassman tried to hold my hand or pass me popcorn, the person in the middle intercepted it every time. Left with no choice, the upperclassman could only whisper to me, I have seen this movie before. The ending is quite unexpected. That piqued my interest. Really? The woman in the middle chewed her popcorn and cut in darkly. The male lead is the killer. When the movie ended, I felt immensely relieved. On my way home, that bad feeling returned, especially when I heard footsteps behind me. I had long grown used to walking alone at night, and I was no longer afraid. But that unexplainable dread tonight kept dragging me back into the shadows of my past. Instinctively, I touched the burn scar on my elbow. I took out my phone, wanting to call someone. When fear struck, the first person I thought of was Liu Ruyan. The instant I pressed call, Liu Ruyan's ringtone sounded behind me. I spun around. The person who had sat between us at the theater, dressed so strangely, wearing sunglasses, a mask, and a hat, was standing right behind me. She was frantically searching for her phone. I narrowed my eyes. Liu Ruyan? Her whole body went rigid. A surge of anger flared inside me. Are you insane? Do you have nothing better to do? You showed up out of nowhere to ruin my date, then stalked behind me at midnight just to scare me. She removed her sunglasses and mask, looking somewhat frustrated. Are you angry? I never told you where I was. How did you find that restaurant? I was baffled. How did she always know exactly where I was? Her eyes darted away, and she did not answer. I turned and walked away, refusing to deal with her anymore. She caught up and grabbed my hand. Do not be mad. I was wrong. I shook her off, but she clung to me again like a burr. Please do not ignore me. Besides, are you completely blameless? By the end, even she sounded unsure, her voice growing quieter and quieter. I could not believe it. What did I do wrong? The second I gave her an inch, she took a mile. And you have the nerve to say that? How could you do this? I was utterly confused. What did I do? Her face was a mix of grievance and resentment. Oh my God. How can you say that with a straight face? You betrayed the me from 10 years in the future. No, you also betrayed your future self. She really had lost her mind. I never should have engaged with her. I quickened my pace, desperate to shake her off. She followed 2 yards behind me, chattering nonstop. Covering my ears, I marched on impatiently, but once I knew it was her, my whole body relaxed considerably. The instant I let my guard down, a figure suddenly rushed out of the darkness. A sharp blade gleamed coldly beneath the street lamp. Liu Ruyan's voice was shrill with urgency. She lunged in front of me to shield me. A long gash sliced across her back from shoulder to waist, nearly spanning her entire back. It was identical to the scars she had 10 years later. I froze for a moment. Liu Ruyan quickly knocked the attacker to the ground. The woman threw down the knife and ran. Liu Ruyan tried to chase after her, but I grabbed her. You are bleeding out. Hospital first. Until she came out of surgery, my hands would not stop shaking. That silhouette felt hauntingly familiar. But my worry for Liu Ruyan consumed every thought. After getting stitches, She was wrapped in bandages, yet blood was still seeping through. Despite being hurt so badly, she spoke as if it were nothing. Do you think we really traveled through time that day? But do not get any ideas about me. The me from 10 years later does not speak for the me now. Many times, I had vaguely felt the same thing. Liu Ruyan was afraid to get close to me. That nameless anger flared up again. My face hardened as I tossed her my jacket. That sharp tongue of yours means you must be fine. Then stay in the hospital by yourself. Her eyes widened. Her words caught in her throat. I turned and left. Other than bringing her meals at the hospital every day, we did not exchange another word. On the day she was discharged, Liu Ruyan spoke first. Fakai, it is my turn to raise him. That afternoon, I brought Fakai over. Fakai had grown quite a bit. He affectionately rubbed against our legs. Just as I was about to leave, Liu Ruyan suddenly grabbed me. The instant our skin touched, the scene around us abruptly changed. Those familiar overlapping figures appeared before me again. Only this time, they were on the sofa, making out. I immediately covered Fakai's eyes. Liu Ruyan sucked in a sharp breath. In broad daylight, could you to not? The person on the sofa clicked their tongue in annoyance. You to really know how to pick your timing. You always show up on our days off. The Liu Ruyan from 10 years later wore pink lace pajamas. Liu Ruyan beside me looked ready to lose her mind. She wished she could gouge out her own eyes. Could you stop degrading yourself like this? The woman stretched lazily, unconcerned. You are just jealous. Even if you wore it, he might not want to look. Her face suddenly turned red. She looked at me shyly. Would you like to see? 10 minutes later, we sat at the dining table, staring awkwardly at one another. Little Fakai and grown-up Fakai were curious too. They pressed together, sniffing each other. I was mortified. Liu Ruyan was mortified too. We had just spent a month giving each other the silent treatment, only to run into our future selves again, going at it like there was no tomorrow. It made all our previous fights seem like a joke. My future self raised an understanding brow. You had a fight? I nodded. You will end up together sooner or later. Get used to each other beforehand. How are we supposed to get used to this? As long as you two and little Fakai are in this house at the same time, you will travel through time. Then move in with us. This house is huge. There is more than enough room for 3 more. As she spoke, the future Liu Ruyan ordered a set of bedding for each of us. Then she seemed to remember something. Oh, and do not disturb us at night. Liu Ruyan looked confused. Disturb you doing what? The woman clicked her tongue impatiently. Do not play dumb. The thing you want most to do with my husband, of course. Her face instantly reddened again. Who wants to do that? And why do you get to call him your husband? After we made up the beds, I looked around the house. The living room was spacious. It was decorated in the colors I had always dreamed of. The balcony was filled with the ball cacti Liu Ruyan liked, and the tulips I loved. The kitchenware was neatly arranged. There was only one apron on the rack. It seemed Liu Ruyan did the cooking every time. Every part of this place was exactly like the home I had longed for since childhood. In every way. When I reached the bedroom, I opened the door and was stunned by the huge mirror beside the bed and the nightstand piled high with condoms in every flavor. Opening the wardrobe was even more eye-opening. There were pajamas in every color, and even things like collars. Liu Ruyan wanted to come in and look too, but I quickly shoved her out, my face burning. That night, I went back to my room to sleep. I casually opened a drawer, and a thick diary caught my attention. It looked old. The cover looked familiar. It seemed I had seen it at Liu Ruyan's house as a child. I remembered wanting to look through it out of curiosity. The moment I touched a corner, she snatched it away. It was the first time I had seen her so nervous. I picked up the diary and nervously opened the first page. I had an inexplicable feeling that it held a huge secret of Liu Ruyan's. Maybe it was connected to the self-harm scars on her wrists 10 years later, and why she avoided me. Just then, someone knocked at the door. Liu Ruyan's voice was muffled and slightly awkward. Can you put medicine on my wound for me? I cannot reach it myself. I jumped. I quickly hid the diary beneath my pillow. Come in. Liu Ruyan handed me gauze and iodine, then sat on the edge of the bed. Her shoulders were narrow, her curves graceful, but that long scar marred a body that should have been perfect. Carefully, I applied medicine to the wound that was beginning to scab. A nameless feeling welled up inside me. Thank you for last time. I reported it to the police the next day, but there were no cameras there, so they still have not caught anyone. That familiar feeling lingered in my heart, but I did not dare say the answer aloud. If you really want to thank me. Her voice was dry and hoarse. Her slender fingers suddenly hooked around my pinky. Then, no matter what happens, do not hate me, okay? My heart suddenly beat faster. Okay. The words buried in my heart since that day surged up again. Liu Ruyan, when she was the first person I thought of in danger, and when she took that knife from me, I finally realized I had truly fallen for Liu Ruyan. It was not rivalry or jealousy between enemies, nor the simple possessiveness of childhood friends. It was love. As I moved closer, unable to hold back, I forgot the diary was beneath my pillow. Liu Ruyan's breathing turned uneven, but this time, She did not argue or pull away. Just as I was about to kiss the corner of her lips, panic suddenly crossed her face. She shoved me away. I followed her gaze. She noticed a corner of the diary sticking out from beneath the pillow. She quickly pulled it out and hid it behind her back, her head lowered, her voice tight, her fingertips trembling. "Did you read it?" I felt a wave of irritation. "What exactly does it say?" Her eyes darted away. She clutched the diary tightly, as if protecting something shameful. "Nothing." Grabbing the diary, she turned to leave as if fleeing. I watched her retreating figure. For the first time, I thought she seemed a little pitiful, not because of the wound on her back, but because she clearly wanted to come closer, yet was terrified. The familiar silent war began again. A few days later, the other two people in the house had clearly noticed we were at odds again. After dinner, my future self pulled me onto the balcony to talk. "Did you read the diary I left in your room?" My eyes widened. "You left it there on purpose? What exactly does it say?" The man leaned against the railing, looking into the night sky, and murmured, "Looks like you did not see it. Then forget it. Forcing open what she wants to hide from you might not be fair to her." He turned to look at me. His eyes held emotions I could not understand. Time had made him more mature and even-tempered, but also left wounds my present self could not understand. Besides, knowing too much can make it harder to find the courage to keep moving forward. That only made me more desperate to know. I looked up and stared straight into his eyes. "If you do not tell me, I will have even less courage to keep going." He smiled. "Maybe we are not talking about the same thing. Do you know who the woman trying to kill you was?" My fingers curled sharply. The instant he asked that, an answer I did not dare say rose in my heart. "Who was it?" "Our mother." When I heard that answer, I was not even shocked. Instead, it felt as though a stone had fallen from my heart, as though what was meant to come had finally come. His gaze was calm. "Do you still want to know everything about the future?" Those events from my childhood felt distant when I look back on them now. When I was little, my mother was often abusive, and like so many abuse victims, my father wanted to give me a complete family, so he never divorced her. But that family was never what I wanted. Years of trauma left me with severe self-destructive tendencies. On my 6th birthday, the familiar sounds of fighting came from next door. When I entered the room, my mother was throwing scalding water at my father's face. I lunged forward and shielded my father. Burning pain shot through my entire arm. My skin instantly turned bright red. My father came to hold me, weeping. I broke free and walked out of the room alone. Calmly, I picked up a kitchen knife, grabbed gasoline and a lighter, and stormed back in. I threw the knife at their feet and soaked the floor with gasoline. "Get divorced. Otherwise, we all burn to death together, or you can kill me with that knife." My father stood frozen for a long time, then fell to his knees and sobbed. After that day, my father finally came to his senses. The next day, they finalized their divorce. The day we moved to Jiangcheng, the weather was beautiful. I met Liu Ruyan. She lived next door. Her mother was cheerful and gentle. Her father was kind and considerate. They were known throughout the neighborhood as a model couple. Liu Ruyan grew up in a happy family. At least, that was how it looked. Liu Ruyan had a wonderful personality too. Everyone liked and praised her. She was nothing like the gloomy, withdrawn child I was. She shone so brightly that I hated her and could not stop wanting to be near her. Perhaps it was those conflicted feelings that kept us bickering for 19 years. I looked at the man before me. I want to know. I can probably guess why she wanted me dead. Before I left Jing City, I secretly logged into her computer. I gathered evidence of the domestic abuse she had committed and sent it to her boss. She lost the respectable job she had been so proud of. The man nodded approvingly. "Yes, over the years, she became an alcoholic. Her life became miserable. She blamed you for every mistake she made. What happened over those 10 years? He did not hide anything from me anymore. He told me the truth plainly. A misunderstanding kept you apart for 5 years. 5 years later, Liu Ruyan wanted to find you, but she happened upon that woman breaking into your home, looking to get revenge on you and your father. Liu Ruyan rushed in to stop her. During the struggle, she slashed that woman to death. She went to prison for 5 years because of it. Those 5 years apart, plus 5 years in prison, left her with severe mental illness." He paused, or I should say, following the clues my future self gave me, I quickly pinpointed her location and contacted the police. As she was taken away, she screamed curses at me, using every vile word she knew, but I felt nothing. I went to class as usual. Liu Ruyan had not come to school these past few days, and she had not gone home either. It felt like throwing a punch into cotton. I could tell she did have feelings for me, but she refused to take that step. She was afraid of falling for me, afraid of making our relationship official. Her avoidance made me furious. It was already late when class ended. I found a decent bar along the street. After 9 drinks, the gloom in my heart finally eased a little. If she did not want to like me, then I would not like her either. I got completely wasted at the bar. In the early hours, Liu Ruyan called me more than 10 times. I did not answer a single one, yet she still found me quickly. She had rushed there, and a thin sheen of sweat covered her forehead. I asked her, "How did you find me?" She did not answer. Neither of us spoke on the way home. She helped me out of the car. The instant we opened the door, we were 10 years in the future again. Our future selves were sitting at a beautifully set table, having a candlelit dinner. A vase held a bouquet of my favorite tulips. Liu Ruyan was still wearing an apron. She blew on a steaming shrimp fresh from the pan, then held it to my lips. The cats played together in the corner. Everyone in that room was happy, except us right then. The jarring contrast left me dazed. The two people at the table soon noticed us. Frowning, the woman took me from her arms, my unsteady body swaying. My future self carefully wiped my face. He looked at Liu Ruyan. "We are out of milk. Go buy some to sober him up." Liu Ruyan hesitated. Then she turned and left. He whispered a few words in the woman's ear. The woman looked surprised, but she nodded anyway. He sighed, gently touched my face, then went into another room. Only future Liu Ruyan and I remained. She held me as we sat on the couch. Her eyes searched mine, her voice especially gentle. "You like her, don't you?" My heart gave a hard thud. I did not know whether it was because of that intimate way she addressed me, or the question itself. "Then do you like me?" My muddled mind could not answer. "Want to try?" My mind went completely blank. Warm, soft lips pressed against mine. Liu Ruyan's faint, distinctive scent instantly enveloped me. I wrapped my arms around her neck, returning the kiss without thinking. In that moment, my emotions burst through. Salty tears slipped from my eyes and ran into my mouth. All I could taste was bitterness. "Why won't you love me? Why did you not tell me anything? Am I not good enough?" She gently wiped away my tears. A flurry of soft kisses followed. "You are wonderful." I lost myself in that fleeting tenderness, unable to pull away, until, with a thud, something hit the floor by the doorway. Startled, I curled closer into her arms. I looked up and met Liu Ruyan's face, so dark with fury it was nearly black. Several bottles of milk lay scattered at her feet. Before I could react, the woman beside me pulled me even closer. She gave Liu Ruyan an apologetic smile, but it was really a provocation. "Sorry, girl, but your husband is mine now." Before they could start fighting, I stopped them. Then I threw up all over Liu Ruyan. By the time they both calmed down, I was nearly sober too. Liu Ruyan dragged me behind her, glaring at the woman across from us. "Do you not know your own condition? Why are you still getting close to him? The first time I came here, I saw those handcuffs hidden in the corner." The woman widened her eyes in surprise. "You do not think those handcuffs were for my husband, do you?" Liu Ruyan glared at her viciously. "Were they not? Who knows you better than I do? You inherited that woman's rotten genes and every one of her worst traits. From the moment you fell for him, you put a tracker on his phone. You wanted to imprison him. If you stay with him, sooner or later you will hurt him." The last traces of my drunkenness vanished. No wonder she never knew where I was, yet always found me exactly. She had put a tracker on me. Strangely, I was not angry. I even found it kind of amusing. It was such a contrast to the Liu Ruyan I knew. The woman let out a humorless snort, a smile that never reached her eyes. "Sorry, but those are what my husband uses to cuff me." Liu Ruyan's expression visibly stiffened. "I do not believe you never considered doing it." Resting her chin on her hand, the woman thought back. "Of course I did. During those 5 years apart, I thought about it every day. Even when I went to find him 5 years later, I had finally reached my limit and was ready to act. I had even hidden rabbit fur-lined handcuffs in the trunk. Who would have thought fate would make me a hero instead and land me in prison too? In a way, I also managed to crush that seed of evil before it could ever grow." Liu Ruyan did not believe a word of it. "You expect me to believe that after prison, you could resist acting on it? Who are you trying to fool?" The woman raised a hand to cut her off. Her gaze was complicated with a hint of pity. "Excuse me, but you have misunderstood our husband. The day I got out of prison, I had not even had time to prepare anything. The moment I stepped outside the prison gates, someone drugged me and brought me to this villa. When I woke up, I was already handcuffed to the headboard." When Liu Ruyan turned her shocked gaze on me, my whole body went rigid, as if on cue. The man walked out of the room. He gave a guilty little cough. He looked at us and changed the subject. "Knowing myself, your avoidance these past few days has already upset him. He may have already ordered handcuffs and rope, ready to take you by force." Guiltily, I hid my phone behind my back. Somehow, he produced that diary again. He waved it in front of us. "Now you two can finally have a proper talk, right?" At last, I learned the diary's secret. Liu Ruyan's family was not as happy as it appeared. Her mother was intensely controlling. Planning trackers, keeping someone captive, were old tricks to her. Yet outwardly, she pretended they were a loving family, treating each other with formal courtesy. Liu Ruyan realized early on that their family dynamic was wrong, but whenever she tried to intervene or stop it, her father would angrily beat and scold her. Before long, she discovered she had inherited the most disgusting part of her mother's nature. I am mentally ill. I am just like her. What she wrote in that diary was the desire and longing for me that she had forced down for so long. Liu Ruyan lowered her head, unable to meet my eyes. I am worse than she is. Dirtier. If she had puppy ears, they would have been drooping behind her head right now. The thought suddenly made me want to laugh. I smiled at her and rubbed her head. What a coincidence. I am mentally ill too. During those 8 childhood years of endless fighting and shouting and beatings, I had already gone mad. To crazy people. How are we not made for each other? At least she felt guilty and tormented by it, but I thought it was only natural. Looking at it that way, I seemed to have even less of a conscience than she did. My future self, with practiced ease, handed me the collar from her room. Congratulations. You have adopted your first puppy. My childhood wish to have a dog seemed to have come true in another way. Liu Ruyan, you are not allowed to run away again. Otherwise, I do not know what twisted things I might do. I pinned her down, making her endure it. Scorching sparks burst forth, scattering light across the floor. Those immersed in that sea of fire never tire, waiting for the next burst of fireworks. At dawn, I found Liu Ruyan lying in my arms. She was still sleeping deeply. Faint, suggestive purple bruises still marked her neck and wrist. We were no longer in the villa from 10 years later. We were in Liu Ruyan's home. Fakai sat at the foot of the bed, watching us, his tail swishing. They were gone. Then I noticed, on the nightstand, the collar he had handed me last night, and a short letter. Thank you, my younger self. We are destined to be happy, because we have always had the courage to face everything. Walk bravely toward the future, and thank you for giving me back the 10 years we would have missed. I stretched lazily. Outside, the spring day was perfect. I gently kissed Liu Ruyan between the brows. Half asleep, she wrapped her arms around my waist. Honey, shall I cook lunch for you? I secretly bought a very sexy apron. I will definitely look better in it than my future self does. She used to call her future self shameless, but once we got together, her true nature came out. I gently tugged her ear and softly agreed. Then I lay back in her arms, finding a comfortable position. Such beautiful weather.